Welcome back, guys. I'm getting a transfer of thermal energy question 7, paper 2, 5054. So, question 7, figure 9.1 shows the structure of a water cooler that is used to supply cold waters for the workers in the office. This is a water cooler. Remember करना है कि water cooler का काम क्या होता है? It is to provide ठंडा पानी. So, आगे चलते हैं. The reservoir of the water in the plastic container is at room temperature. It does not mix with the cold water in the tank below because जो ठंडा पानी होता है ना that is more dense than the warm water, and obviously they are saying that this water must be colder than this water. This is the reservoir. This is the, what do you call it, reservoir को मतलब access water जो है that is going to be used later. So cold water will sink because cold water has more density, while जो गर्म पानी होता है that will rise because warm water has less density. So that is the answer. It is less dense than cool water. It floats on cool water. Cooler water cannot move up. Cooler water remains on the bottom. Very simple, very easy. When the tap is opened, water at room temperature from the reservoir flows down into the tank. Cold water from the tank flows through the plastic pipe and out of the tap. Acha, when the tap is opened, water is at room temperature from reservoir down to the tank. अच्छा, जब टैप ओपन होता है तो ऑफ कोर्स जो वाटर है दैट विल escape, and this level of reservoir will fall down and it will come down and the reservoir water will reduce. अच्छा, into the tank. Cold water from the tank flows through the plastic pipe and out of the tap. ये plastic pipe है, and this is the cold water which is going through the plastic pipe and out of the tap. Cold liquid from the refrigeration unit is pumped through the copper pipe and thermal energy passes through the copper to this liquid. Suggest why pipe is made up of copper, from copper, because copper is a very highly conductive material. Copper is a good thermal conductor. So yeah, easy. Explain in terms of Explain in terms of free electrons how thermal energy is transferred through copper. So thermal energy is transferred through copper. जब ना electrons को, when the copper is heated, the electrons will gain energy, and when the electrons will gain energy, what happens is that they will start to move faster, and when they start to move faster, they will collide with other electrons or other particles, and that will heat them up. Vibrating atoms, ions, particles, molecules, or electrons gain energy. Atoms, ions, particles, molecules hit electrons. Electrons travel a long distance through the copper. Electrons hit, transfer energy to distant atoms, ions, particles, and molecules. So yeah, this is the answer. As the water near the copper pipe cools, it begins to mix with the rest of the water in the tank. अच्छा, they are saying now कि जैसे जैसे ये जो कॉपर पाइप के पास वाला पानी है, it starts to cool down, right? It starts to cool down. It begins to mix with the water in the tank. जो टैंक है उसके पानी के साथ मिलना शुरू हो जाता है. Explain why. Let's explain how this happens. Because the copper pipe is cooling the water. The copper pipe will cool the water, therefore making the water more dense. And when the water is more dense, it will sink down to the bottom and into the tank. I will repeat it. अच्छा, I will repeat it in Urdu. ठीक है ना? कॉपर पाइप है, ये ठंडा कर रहा है पानी को, और जो ठंडा पानी होता है वो ज्यादा डेंस होता है, और जो डेंस पानी होता है दैट विल सिंक, मतलब नीचे चला जाता है, राइट? दैट वाटर विल सिंक एंड it will go along with the colder water. This will be called convectional current. Let's. It contracts, its density increases, it sinks, less dense water. अच्छा, thermal expansion को तो आपने सुना ही होगा, but the opposite happens when a like अगर एक चीज गर्म है और उसको ठंडा कर दें आप, तो it will of course contract because previously it was expanded by the thermal expansion, but when it is cooled down again, it will contract. And when it is contracted, the volume will lessen. And since the volume कम हो रहा है और mass is staying there at its अच्छा एक सेकंड आपको एक चीज सुना दो डेंसिटी इज इक्वल्स टू मास डिवाइडेड बाय वॉल्यूम density is dependent on mass and volume and as we know mass is not changing in this process mass will not change the only thing which is changing is volume but जब volume कम होगा the density will increase and when the water will contract the volume will reduce so the volume is decreased so the density will increase so that is a very simple concept. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Allah Hafiz.